Hey everybody, Jay Weidner here. Thank you for watching Reality Check, the show that bends your reality. That's what we're doing today. Lately, we've been exploring whether we're living in a simulation, whether our past is telling us the evidence in our past is telling us about a past that we are not and have not been told about. We're exploring a lot of different things. And the reason that I'm doing this is I'm trying to show that, you know, that this world is more plastic and malleable than we think it is, and we're taught that it is, and that you do create your own reality, and you manifest what you need if you're conscious. I once had a friend who was a very rich man. He was much older than me, very esoteric guy, had about $1 billion. And he told me one time, he said, you know, the difference between you and me, Jay, is that you're living in a dream and I'm lucid dreaming in the dream. And, you know, I said, you can become whatever you want. And I went home, I was young, and I tried it out and, you know, it worked. You can become whatever you want. So don't let people tell you, especially if you're young in your 20s, that you can't do something. Just don't listen to them. In fact, if someone's telling you that, they're probably not good for you. You should probably try to find a way to X them out of your life. But anyway, today we're back with one of my favorite people. She's a psychic from Canada. She's helped Canadian police find missing people and bodies. And she's also really just a lot of fun to be around. Patricia Monna. How are you doing, Patricia?
I thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm well. How are you, Jay? How's the weather down there?
We're in the middle of a blizzard right now, foggy and cold, and it looks like it's going to go for another day or two. So, you know, the
I hope.
Maunder minimum and the ice age are upon us, it looks like.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, keep it down there. We don't need any more snow up here.
You guys got a lot of cold weather this winter up there. So I want you to, I want you to talk to me about psychic, being psychic. What, I mean, I can tell you, and I'm not alone, because when I said this on my show a few weeks ago, I got a lot of comments. That I know for sure that for some reason in the last 6 or 7 months, my psychic abilities have gotten a lot better. I'm picking stuff up ahead of time, and it's actually kind of, I mean, you've been psychic or aware of it for most of your life, but when you've kind of been dormant and you're a book reader like I am, and then suddenly you think about something and then you go to YouTube, like I told the story, my wood stove got jammed up, cold winter, and the smoke finally clogged up the wood, so I turned it on one day and the house filled with smoke, and I went, oh no, I got to clean the wood stove, right? And I have never cleaned this wood stove. Sat down, turned on YouTube. Very first video was how to clean your wood stove, right? Never talked about it, never mentioned it. Some people say, oh, it's the phone, it heard you and picked you up. But no, I never said anything. So if I was your student and this was our first lesson, a short version, of course, because I want to get to some of the fun stuff. We're going to actually remote view things from the past. It's going to be really fun. But I just want to get this out so I can get a feel for what it is. What would you say to me as a novice coming to you, wondering, what is psychic ability and how can I have it too?
Well, to start, everyone is psychic, Jay. Every single one of us. We've all had that little hunch that something was going to happen, and then it happened. So my job in finding missing people or even doing readings for my clients day to day, I am listening to the way the information is registering within me. I'm listening to that bounce back voice that connected you to the matrix, that is bringing us up to 5D. It's all about a resonance thing. So the biggest thing is the kingdom of heaven is within you. And so you have to go within in order to walk a psychic's path. It's a spiritual journey. There's no tips and tricks. There's no shortcuts. It is an actual journey that starts with one step, and you gotta go within. So that inner knowing, that little hunch that you had, that connection, you can feel it. It has a little poof to it when it comes over you. Well, I've learned to listen to the little poofs from the universe. And it just so happens that it literally has led me to finding 29 missing people. And so spirit is going to present itself in many different ways. Our higher self, there's so many different dimensions, right? There's the dimension of angels. There's the dimension of your higher self. There's God. There's the ascended masters. There's your spirit guides. There's so many different dimensions, and they're all on different dimensional frequencies. So for me, I don't know if I fine-tuned my body or if that's the way I came, but I can feel the difference in resonance around people, around areas, locations. And the thing is that every single one of us has a very unique resonance signature. Just like a thumbprint, we all vibrate completely differently. And so as a psychic, if you're sensitive to energy and you know how to be able to read that energetic signature of someone, there's really nothing that you can't see or know, whether the person is alive, whether the person was alive 1,000 years ago. You can see through their eyes. You can feel through their energy. So, little exercise for you to do right now and anyone viewing this. So just close your eyes for a second and put your feet both flat on the floor. It's better when your legs are not crossed, feet flat on the floor. So just close your eyes. And in your right hand, I want you to feel a beautiful, juicy green apple. Let's feel into the resonance signature of an apple. It's an easy exercise to do. So in your mind's eye, feel the apple, feel the hardness, examine it, turn it over in your mind's eye. See the stem and see the bottom. Now in your mind's eye, what I want you to do is take a big bite of that juicy green apple. Taste it. Feel the crunch on your feet, on your teeth. Feel it. Taste it. Become one with the signature of that juicy green apple. Feel it. Swallow it. And see how your body reacts to the energy of that green apple. Okay, now open your eyes.
Wow, it tasted good.
Right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You literally just tune into the resonance signature of an apple. And just like you can elicit that memory, you can elicit that same sensory memory of someone will say that you love. That's another very easy exercise to do. I just finished a 4-week program called Quantum Psychic, Decoding the Matrix. I had so much fun with that group. They were so awesome. I loved it. But one of the exercises for homework that I gave them was, I said, okay, let's tune into a loved one, an alive loved one. I want you to send them a message. So in your mind's eye, see them standing in front of you. Feel what it would feel like, to hold them in your arms. You know what their shoulders feel like from a hug. You know what they smell like. You know what I mean? Really get into the sensory of that connection, because that's actually what connects us. That is the bridge, right? Our energy shifts the same way your mouth probably started salivating because you the apple, right? Well, the more you can tune into the signature of whether it's an apple or a loved one, you can actually send and receive signals all day long. It's amazing. And so one of the homework that I gave them was, okay, let's send your loved ones a loving message, a healing message, and see if they get it. And it was amazing to see the results from that. So yeah, we're all quantumly connected, every single one of us. It's just, do we know it? Do we recognize it? We're so out of touch with our spiritual paths that we don't even realize that we really are all one. And what I do to you, I do to me, right?
Yeah, it's really true. And, astronomers have photographed what they're called Birkeland currents out in outer space. There are these long lines of glowing light, you might say. And it's exactly the same pattern that's inside our brain pattern. And,
Wow.
and so leads a lot of people to think that we are living in a giant organism of some kind. And then we really are just one separated, but one really at heart, we're still just one species and one mind even. Rupert Sheldrake, the great British biologist, he came up with the term morphogenetic fields, and that every object has a field signature to it, and that this is why, you know, weird things happen and strange things occur. And we're connected through the morphogenetic field, he says. And he was a scientist, so he actually did tests. And one of the tests he did, which he actually videotaped, it's an amazing one, is this guy had a dog. And the dog always went to the window about 10 minutes before he came home from work, right?
Yeah.
Every night. It would, so what they did was the scientist and the video camera guy got in the car with the guy and they left, right? And then just drove around for like 20, 30, 40 minutes. And they had somebody at the home videotaping the dog too, right? And then Rupert says, okay, go home, right? So he turns the car around and go home, and immediately the dog stands up and walks to the window. And they had the timers going on both cameras, so you could see that it was this exact moment that he told him to turn around and go home that it worked.
So you want to know why animals can do that? Because they are so immersed in the now that they feel the energetic shifts, that little tiny shift of, ooh, they're coming back, they're coming close. It's all of our distractions, everything that is not in the now that actually blocks us from having that psychic sense. You have to be mindful. You have to stay completely in the now if you want to do any sort of psychic work, or else you'll miss all the signs that Spirit's trying to show you.
Well, also, I think, you know, because when I said that a few weeks ago, that I noticed that I was getting more psychic, and my friends have told me that here locally where I live, when I got just a lot of comments saying that same thing was happening to them, the people watching the show, then I started thinking about the fact that our electromagnetic field is dampening and going down right now. And I'm wondering if that wasn't causing interference patterns of some kind. You know,
Well,
now that it's dropping, we're all kind of, wow, you know, I have this ability I didn't know I had.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I want to say for the last about 4 or 5 months, I've been complaining about that electromagnetic static in the air, because it's almost like I can wave my hands through the air and feel the thickness of the energy that's in the air. So it's changing, Jay. It is big time. And I think that there is a mass awakening that is happening on the planet right now. And it's not just because I'm awake, so you're awake, and then we go and wake up everyone else. I think that there's an actual energetic shift that is happening right now that is forcing people to go, hey, okay, what's going on? You know, and if this is real, what else is real? And let me finally look into the depths of my soul. People, I don't know, we've been distracted by the material world too much to realize, you know, that there's a massive shift happening.
What if the people who run this place know that the diminishing electromagnetic field is going to give us a kind of superpower? And so right as the electromagnetic field really began to diminish, which was almost exactly 14 months ago, when a certain event happened, which is stopping us from getting together. Because when we get together, if we are indeed getting more psychic collectively, then getting together for concerts or, you know, just friendly get-togethers, we're going to start talking to each other, and then we're going to start discovering that, you know, this is happening. And I don't know. It seems to me that somebody up on top knows a lot more about what's going on than they're letting on. That's all I want to say about that. I don't want to get censored. You know what I mean? All right, we're going to have some fun, folks, because today we're going to use Patricia's remote viewing abilities to explore mysterious objects of the past. I guess that's a good way to put it, right?
Totally. Everything has a resonance signature, including objects and locations as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see what we're doing here. Patricia, where are you?
I did make some notes on the pictures that you sent me, because when I do remote viewing, I need a, well, if it's remote viewing for a missing person, I need a targets for sure, but it's nicer with a picture, and then I can see what's going on within that location and within that signature.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Let me do this. Stay with me, folks. I'm not really good at this share screen yet. Okay, here we go. Share screen. Okay, this is our first image. Very famous image of the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, or it's supposed to be the Shroud of Jesus, right?
Yep.
Right? Okay. So this is one that I have to tell you, the resonance signature on it, the DNA on it doesn't feel I don't know how to explain it, but it feels otherworldly. It feels almost like the King of Kings, or DNA that was extremely pure, what we came from. So I wouldn't doubt if it was the Shroud of Jesus. You know, I don't know the science behind it or anything. All I know is that it glows different. The resonance signature and the DNA that's on it definitely glows at a much brilliant higher rate than I've ever seen with people today. So his DNA was definitely different.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be, I think, blood on his head there, which would give, a lot of DNA.
Yeah, it glows.
Any other things about this guy? You notice that he has a negative? I put that next to it because if you take a picture of this, you can actually get a negative. And that surprises me because I don't understand that part. As a photographer, I don't. I don't get how this object that's in Turin can generate a negative also. So it tells me that there's some kind of play on light here that I don't understand.
Yeah,
Okay, here's number 2.
Okay, so this one I found a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was told not to remote view that one. That one was the one where it was a little bit off limits to me or something. It felt almost, I know this is it, the energy there felt like a lot of people died. It didn't feel good. Like, and I know, to me, I don't know, as a normal person, it looks like, that it could have been a church or a chateau or something like that. But what happened inside of it, the energy really doesn't feel good in it. It was almost like my guides are like, yeah, don't remote view it. But the one word that I did get off of that, is that in Europe? Is that in like France or something?
Yes.
That one? Okay, so I got the location, but I saw a lot of dead people in it, to be honest with you.
That is the castle of Montségur. That's on Mount Montségur, or Mount Ségur, I mean, not Mount Montségur, it's Montségur. And what happened here was that a very peaceful group of people in the 1200s called the Cathars, who lived in the south of France, who were vegetarians. Women and men were equal. They thought Jesus was more of instead of how the Christians interpreted it, the Cathars thought that Jesus was warning us that we may be worshiping the wrong God, and that we need to worship the God of love and not the God of vengeance. And the Catholic Church came to the area. The Cathars had really started taking over the area with their belief system. They had a Reiki-like healing system, and they worshiped Mary Magdalene. And the Pope sent a bishop to the area, and the bishop debated the head priest of the Cathars, and the head priest of the Cathars was like, "Why are you dressed in all these expensive clothes? Why don't you sell those and give the money to the poor?" Anyway, he decimated the guy, right? And the bishop went back to Rome and told the Pope, and the Pope ordered his general in after he heard this, and he said, "I want you to go to the south of France with your army and kill everybody." And the famous line was, the general said, "Well, how am I supposed to tell who's Catholic and who's a Cathar?" And he said, and the Pope said, "Kill them all. God will sort it out." And so, I can't remember exactly what year now. I used to be an expert on this. I've been here before, by the way. They came into the south of France and began the First Inquisition. This is the very first Inquisition. And they literally started at Narbonne, and they worked their way west, killing every single person that they found. And finally, the last 200 Cathars holed up here at Mont Ségur, which is on a really high mountain. It's really hard to get to. You got to go up this really circuitous path. And they holed up there. The Roman army surrounded Mont Ségur for a long time. Finally, after they were starved out, the 200 plus Cathars started coming down the mountain. The Roman army saw them coming down the mountain. The troops created a gigantic bonfire, like 100 feet high, huge bonfire. And they were going to torture the Cathars for, causing all this ruckus, right? Making them wait and everything. And instead, as soon as the Cathars got down off from this castle, they ran into the fire to escape the clutches of the torture. They all committed,
Because I felt such destruction and such despair in there and terror. And it was like, ooh, that did not feel good at all. And it is in France, you said? It is?
Yeah, it's in southern France.
I heard that word clear as a bell. But yeah, it does not feel like a place that I'd want to go. What did it feel like when you went there? Could you feel it? Could you feel?
Yeah, you can. You can still feel it. There's a plaque at the bottom where they died, marking the event and everything. And it's in one of the more spooky areas of planet Earth. There's a lot of rumors that Mary Magdalene came to France after Jesus died, and there's a church, the Church of Mary Magdalene, right on the water there, right across from Israel. And there's a boat. Mary Magdalene's in the boat, like she took a boat to get there. Then there's the people that ruled France right after that time period, called the Merovingians, which has that Mary in the title, and right, and they thought of themselves as kind of Jewish, right? And also there's the kingdom of Narbonne, which most people don't realize it was a Jewish kingdom in the south of France. It was its own country, and it was completely Jewish. So there's this whole weird Christian Jewish thing going on with Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and maybe possibly Jesus's children in the south of France. And I personally believe, well, the Cathars thought that they were descended from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So wow. You take that for what it's worth. But they were really, really cool people, and they killed them all, just like we always do. Wow. All right, how about this one?
Okay, so this one feels connected. What's interesting is it feels connected to the first image. It does. It feels like it vibrates the same exact DNA, and I don't know why, because I've never seen that before. But it again has almost like an extraterrestrial DNA thing to it, or that's not a regular human's DNA that's at the tip of that. That's been used to spear someone. That, how old is that thing? It feels extremely old. It doesn't feel like a new tool, even though, you know, it looks new. It feels like it's ancient. What else did I see off of that? Yeah, it was weird. It glows the same as that shroud thing that you showed me. It's got the same resonance, the DNA resonance to it.
Yeah, this is the spear of Longinus. This was used to test if Jesus was still alive by stabbing Jesus in the side. And that's how they knew he was dead. No, water came out, so he wasn't quite dead. But Longinus, of course, you know, felt terrible that he had done it. He was a Roman soldier. And this was actually in a museum. I can't remember now where it was. It was one of the countries that guy with the crazy mustache that ran Germany during World War II, that you can't say his name anymore on the internet. He conquered the city where this was at, the museum, and he used this as his talisman in the World War to try to help him win it. And a lot of people think that backfired on him, and it's one of the reasons that he lost the war was because he was using one of this talisman for really nefarious purposes.
I forgot to tell you that, or to tell you that I did see that it does feel like it's there to slay demons or something. It feels like the resonance on it has a very, very, very protective, almost like a weapon of God or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it's got a very, very high resonance to it. So yeah, what did you did with it? I would assume it would be used against evil.
Yeah, so you know, you have to remember his mindset. He probably thought he was against evil, if you know what I mean. So that it's a beautiful spear point too, by the way.
Where is it? Where is that piece?
It's in Germany, or no, not Germany. I think it might be Brussels now. How about this one? What do you think of this one?
Okay, so this is weird. I saw men in long black robes around this thing. So, and I don't think it was just Catholicism or Catholics that I was looking at. It almost feels cultish to me, or like a secret order. It also feels like it's got hidden messages or something in it, where that's not just, you know, like a grave marker or something. That feels like it's there to explain time or.
Pretty good. That's, of course, the very obscure. This is the Cross of Hende. I wrote a book about it.
I don't know what that.
It's in Hende, France. You'll see it's in Hende, France, which is right on the Spanish border in southern France on the Atlantic side, and it's sitting in a churchyard. And it was definitely built by a secret society, and it's about time. It's exactly right. It's about the cycles of time and the catastrophes that have come and the catastrophes that are coming.
Wow. Yeah. I sometimes when I do remote viewing, I'll get like a certain particular word, like that word France. It was like, boom. The minute I looked at that picture, and then it just kind of sucked me in to destruction, right? Yeah. But this, like, that's not a grave marker. There's no one dead underneath that. That's, you know. And then when I went further into it, was like, no, it's marking time or something. It feels like, here's the weird thing also that I picked up off of that thing, was it feels like it's got to do about resonance and the way you say the words.
Yeah.
It feels almost like, how do I explain this? You know how a song has frequencies in it, right? Well, it feels like the right person was to say those words or I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, it's got an energy behind it that's all about frequency, time, resonance.
That's interesting you say that, because it does have looks like a little bit like a tuning fork. And this column here, the little grooves in it are called flutes, right? And flutes create resonances, right? So when the wind blows through these, it creates like this sound, right?
Oh,
Yeah, and you got to wonder why they did that. Why go through all that extra work, right?
yeah, and you know what? The cult that created that, because here's the thing, that's got to be way older than the building, because I see them standing in a circle around that thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was brought to this place in 1849. It was built 400 years ago in 1600, and it was brought to this church in 1849 around from, they say, the local churchyard. But again, it's not a gravestone, just like you said. There's no names on it or dates or anything. It's clearly, to me, this is one of the most important monuments on Earth, because it proves that people 400 years ago knew a lot more about astronomy and science than, and if you guys want to read my book, it's Mysteries of the Great Cross of Hende, Alchemy at the End of Time, by Jay Weidner and my the now no longer existing Vincent Bridges. He left us 5 years ago. Now this one.
Okay, this is just a piece. This is just a piece of something so much bigger that had other dials on it and that were rotating in different ways. And when I tuned into this, it immediately took me out into the stars, like instantly, almost like I was looking at an astronomer's timepiece, because they show me the inside of a clock, like, or the inside of a watch. But then they show me the stars, and I felt like I was in outer space. So I would have to say that that's got something to do with astronomy, or or the navigation of the stars or something. But that's only a piece of something so much bigger.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you, I don't know what this is. I've wondered what it is since they found it or it got released.
And it does, and I know that, it does look, like it's been under the ocean, but that does feel like it was under the ocean for a long time, and that's just a small piece of something much bigger. Because with that, I could draw it out for you, but there was other bigger circles. There was two of them, one on each side, and then that one was in the middle. And then I also saw something else moving down here. So it reminded me of the inside of a watch, like an old-fashioned watch.
How old do you think this thing is? I mean, I have no idea.
Like I would say, oh God, we'll see, when it comes to remote viewing, there really is no such thing as time. It's kind of hard to tell. But I would say like 1300 AD or something. I don't know. I you know what? I really don't know. I shouldn't say.
I don't know either. I've always wondered what this was, and it's definitely some kind of technology, and
Yeah,
definitely, I think you might be right about it being something with astronomy. Really
it was a navigation of the stars or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this feels interesting because it feels like it's got a story. It doesn't feel like it has been in one place. This piece feels like a piece that came from a larger piece or a wall. I don't feel that I'm looking at a wall. I feel like I'm looking at something that I could hold in my hand. You know what's really weird is that this piece feels like it has been transferred hands so many times. Because for some reason I see police around it. So I think there's a story to this particular piece. Like, I think it was smuggled or someone took it, because I could describe the criminal like this who had it. So someone had it that shouldn't have had this piece. This feels like it was a stolen artifact, or
could be.
Yeah, it does, and I'm assuming now it should be in a museum or something. But yeah, like I see a whole.
What do you think about the
Like, who actually did it?
Yeah, the depictions? What do you think is going on with the depictions?
I believe that like when I look at who inscribed it, what did I write about that one? Let me look. The petroglyph. Oh yeah, I saw a male with longer dark hair around, I don't know, looked like an early teenager who did that. And I think that he's showing the tribal dance of the elders. I really do. I think it's a tribal dance of the elders. And I think that I see a male with long dark hair, and it almost looks like it was carved in with like an arrowhead, or I can see another piece of stone etching it. But it's interesting because this piece tells a massive story. So I bet you anything in modern days, I'd love to know where that piece is, because I saw police and smuggling and.
Yeah. How about, is there anything that you're picking up from, say, astronomy or anything like that?
One. No, to be honest, no, not. I don't think those are aliens or anything like that. I don't. I saw, when I remote viewed it, I saw a longer, dark-haired man. It looked like indigenous to me.
Well, they're definitely they're either Navajo or Hopi,
Yeah.
probably, and they're all over the Southwest United States with these same exact depictions.
I think that's the thing, because when I see that, I can see them dancing around a fire, and it's a ceremony. What they're depicting in that is a ceremonial dance.
Interesting.
I get that's what the energy of the stone tells me.
Cool. Very good. And now we're going to get more prosaic here, folks. Of course, this is the Great Sphinx, and something I've always been fascinated by. And I just wanted, we know all the stories about the Sphinx, but I just wanted to get Patricia's, intrinsic insights into maybe like what it was built for, or when it was built, that kind of thing.
So when I tune into it, I actually believe that there was two of them, because I saw double, like mirror image, one beside the next. And when I remote viewed it, this doesn't look like it did way back then. There was a crown on the top of it with 12 points. Wow. And during certain times of the year, like the solstices and the equinox, the planetary, or the sun's alignment through the crown would point to select stargates.
Wow.
And so I believe that, I don't believe it was time. Over time, it was desecrated. I believe that, like, when I remote view what happened to the crown, I felt this massive rumble from the ground, and that's what makes me think, okay, it wasn't, war and the enemy, wrecked it. It felt like the whole ground was shaking. And then I saw the crown split in two and fall down. And I forgot about this part too. I did see a metal rod coming out the very top of the crown, and or the middle of the head. And I saw something hit it, and I felt the ground shake, and then it split in two, and it fell. And I think that why it was built, so, like, there's so many different uses for this thing. One, it would point out stargates. Two, it was guardian of the underworld. I feel that I know that cats can see spirit. And I know that they were revered as, keeping the bad spirits away. And I believe that the Sphinx stood for guardian of the underworld. And the other thing that I saw when I remote viewed it is underneath the second toe of the right paw, about 6,000 feet down, you're going to find some ancient technology. It's just a matter of, will they ever dig there, right? But there is hidden technology that's down there that I think would blow our mind if we actually went down there.
Well, my old friend John Anthony West did sonic readings in the 90s, and there is a chamber below the paws of the right paws of the Sphinx. When I was at the Sphinx shooting for the History Channel, I had my very attractive producer distract the guards, and I went around the backside over here behind, and there was a piece of plywood with a rock on it, and I picked up the rock, put the plywood aside, and there was a shaft going down with a ladder into the darkness. And I picked up a rock and I dropped it, and I never heard it hit. And I had to get back because I didn't want to get busted and get thrown in an Egyptian jail, right? But there's definitely something, and they're working on it. And I caught them, in their little shaft going down under the Sphinx. They're probably stealing all the artifacts they're finding.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's interesting because our mutual friend Mohammed Ibrahim, who is a tour guide in Egypt, when I was asking him about what I saw when I remote viewed it, he confirmed that there was a rod that went through the top, and he confirmed that there was a crown. So, and he said to me, he was quite shocked because he's like, no one knew about that, Patricia. So, but what fascinates me even more is when I saw the planetary alignments from the shadow and opening up the stargates. Like, these people were sound engineers. They were energy masters. These people, the way they built it even, they didn't live like us. We're the ones that have lost our ability of telepathy and vibroacoustic engineering, and they understood. Look at the pyramid in Chichen Itza, that when you stand in the middle of the stairs and you clap your hands, it sounds exactly like the bird that it was named after.
Yeah.
That's not coincidence. How did they do that? Without the technology that we have nowadays. Where did they get this crazy knowledge from? All I know is that the energy was so much different than it is right now. And you know how you said you've been feeling a shift over these last 6 months where your intuitive abilities are coming back? Well, I think that there has been a shift big time, like I was saying. And the cosmic energies, I think, are going to be upping our ante, for the ones that are looking for it, the ones that are prepared to be able to acknowledge what spirit is trying to say. I think that the door is going to be open wider than it's ever been before. And I think that we have capacity to understand what the Sphinx is. Just give it even a little bit more time, and then get out there. I guarantee you sit in it and you're going to see the history of it. Because that ability to be able to perceive the divine blueprint of a location, all of us can do it, Jay. You just got to be still and feel it. And all of a sudden, those pictures will pop up just the same way they do for me.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most fascinating subjects of all, actually. And then I think this is our final one. This is the famous picture of Patty, shot in 1967 as she was running away from something, and the guy caught her on film. My first question to you is this real?
My gut instinct. Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
My gut instinct says no. I think it's either gorilla or a person in a monkey suit. I really do.
my big problem with the monkey suit is, as a guy who did physical effects in Hollywood, is we would never make it a female. We would never bother making breasts. So
True.
that would not, we would never do it. Too much work.
It's true. It's true. I don't know. It doesn't feel otherworldly to me. I know I've seen this picture before, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what to make of it. I don't want to dismiss it, but my very personal take on it, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the whole Sasquatch thing. I've never seen one. But that doesn't,
I don't know what to make of it either.
It doesn't mean that they're not real, right? For me, I'm open to seeing anything, but I've never experienced one, and I haven't. When I tune into the energetic signature of that, I'm not getting something that's out of this world. I'll put it that way.
Well, I mean, the story that's now coming out about that picture is actually quite tragic. If the story is true, the story is that a bunch of, I don't want to say rednecks, a bunch of guys who lived in the country in California captured a baby, a young one, and tied it to a tree. And then they sat around with guns waiting for the family to arrive and free the kid. And then when they arrived, they shot them all. And this is the mother, and she's running away. And she was shot about 5 minutes after that film was taken.
Wow.
This is the story that's emerging right now. That's this person that just died, and she left behind all of her notes about what occurred on that incident. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know any of it. I know that I know I've never seen one. I know people who have. I don't know what they are. I think they're just humans, actually. Hairy humans that live in the woods.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not sure. I honestly, I don't know, but it didn't feel like an alien to me or anything like that.
I don't think they're aliens. So I think not picking up otherworldly is actually right. There's nothing really otherworldly. They've probably been here longer than we have, if they're real. So we don't know.
But I mean, look at dinosaurs, right? Just because we've never seen a dinosaur doesn't mean they're not real, because they're in our backyard in Calgary. So it's, I mean, anything is possible, absolutely. But I didn't get Sasquatch. I didn't get that from there. Mind you, gonna be honest, I've never found the energetic signature of a Sasquatch. That's the thing. So that's why I'm like, are they real? Because even with aliens, I got to tell you something. So my friend Lisa said to me at the very beginning when I first met you and, everyone from Gaia, my friend Lisa says, you start hanging out with those alien people and you're going to start seeing aliens. I'm like, oh, whatever, Lisa. You got to believe in it to see it. Well, yeah, I saw stuff that I wish I could unsee totally, completely. So I will never dismiss anything and say that it's not out there, because just because I haven't experienced it doesn't mean it's not out there, because I didn't believe in aliens until I met y'all. So.
And so now you believe in aliens?
Oh, yeah, I definitely. So, and I mean, I've always believed in other realms anyways, because I work in it, right? Sure. I do viewing, I work with angels. So like there's all the different realms, right? But I also don't play in realms that can burn me. I don't touch evil things or things that are below 5D when it comes to interdimensional stuff. Like for me, where I get my information, I spend a lot of time in prayer to keep my resonance as high as I can. And so when it comes to aliens or like stuff that I'm sure that there's ones out there that, want to help humanity. Great. That's not what I experienced. What I experienced was a little freaky deaky. And so, no, I would never it's something that I wouldn't want to experience again. It really isn't. And it's something that I wouldn't play in. I would never invoke that reality or dimension. Why play with fire when you can get burned? I don't touch dimensions that are lower. If
Yeah,
that makes
I don't mess with black magic or anything like
no,
that.
either. I'm gonna be honest, I've never touched a Ouija board, a tarot card, anything like that. And I'm not saying anything, but that's just my personal thing is I don't touch that stuff. So the interdimensional beings that I saw this past summer, I don't care to ever interact with them again, ever.
Yeah, I have to say you're right. I was talking to Whitley Strieber, the author of Communion, and he had his encounters with these aliens, I guess, whatever they were, multidimensional beings. And I said, now that you've had all these encounters with these beings over the years, are you a more positive person or a more negative person because of it? And he said, I'm definitely, they made me more negative. They're negative beings.
Well, do you want to know what I saw? And I got to tell you guys, we are being bombarded with negativity right now. And the problem, what I've seen is it's actually attacking more men's consciousness right now than anything else, Jay. Men out there that are watching this, please be mindful of what's going through your head, because I've actually seen it where it looks like a device stuck about 3 or 4 feet above the head in the auric field. And it looks like this black box, this blob just sitting there. And what I know it to do is it puts negative thoughts literally on a feedback loop where it feels like, a song that you can't get out of your head. Well, but suicidal thoughts of, I can't do this anymore. I hate that person. And I just want to be out of here. I can't keep going like this. Those thoughts, you guys, if you wouldn't normally say that to yourself, take a step back. Understand that consciousness is at war right now, big time. And these things, you can see it. I can see it when it merges with someone's consciousness. It literally looks like a Snapchat filter coming down over their head, and their face still looks like their face, but it's changed. It goes kind of a gray color, and their eyes get really small. And the pupils also get small when these things are around. And it's like waves of anger and negativity, and anxiety and sadness and panic that will come over you because that's their energetic signature, right? So if there's men out there or females that have been feeling that out there, say a prayer, cleanse your auric field, literally invite the light in, have a golden shower of beautiful light coming over you and cleanse that auric field. And the other thing that you can do too is scan your energy. Just see, even before you cleanse your field, see if something's there, because you can feel it. What you do is you close your eyes, and again, planting your feet flat on the floor because energy flows better that way. And just scan your auric field, starting from your feet and go all the way up, and like a torus, spill it out over top and just feel. Is there anything in the auric field around you that should not be there? Because if there is, you'll bump into it. You'll feel it. It'll be like, ooh, what's that? What's that? It's just the slightest tiny little distortion that you will feel. If you feel that distortion within your field, you need to bring in that light and cleanse out that negativity, or else I'm telling you, it's a war on consciousness. And it can make you do things that you would normally never do.
That's right. Male suicides are up 800%. Right now in US and Canada. We both have a mutual friend whose son just committed suicide recently. Tragic case. Also, listen to the reality checks. The voices in my head don't like me. We have 2 parts on that one, and with a psychologist who absolutely believes that these are external entities.
They are. They stick to your field. They look like Klingons. And that's So for someone who's psychic or can perceive energy and see it, it's like, oh my God, you're infected. Oh my God, you're infected. And it'll just seem like you're having a bad day. Or you woke up and you just feel heavy and you just can't shake it. You got to stop and go, why do I feel that way? Right? And that's why the biggest thing that you can do is become consciously aware of your thoughts moment to moment. Literally practice putting a filter on your head and just examine every thought that's coming in. Does it serve you? Does it support you and lift you up? If not, get it out of there. Get it out of there. Because now is the time where it'll infect your mind and make you do things that you don't want to do, right? Think about the riots, for example, okay? I was watching this interview the next day where they were interviewing the rioters afterwards. And the rioters were saying, I don't know what got into me. I don't know what got into me. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And they wouldn't normally do is, smashing buildings and lighting cars on fire. What got into them? It merges with your consciousness. And like I said, if you're perceptive to energy, you can see it because it comes down over the face. The eyes change, the skin looks gray, they look cold and mean, and you can feel the anger just emanating from them. Be careful, that's an entity that's taken over the avatar.
Yep. Really and truly, folks, listen to that. My two shows, The Voices in My Head Don't Like Me, because it really mirrors what Patricia's saying here. And this is a scientist. This isn't psychic. Those shows are with a guy who's worked with these people in mental institutions, and literally you could see the entities coming in and going out of them. He said they're like little electromagnetic, like lightning bolts or something, right? Going in and out, and the person would suddenly become. And if you hear voices in your head that are saying things like, "Why don't you go kill yourself?" or "You're just not a good person," that's not you. That's not you. That is not you. You think that's you. That's not. That is an external entity using your voice, trying to make you crazy, trying to get you to kill yourself. It's a rash right now. It's actually an epidemic. It's killing more people than the what did. And so yeah, listen to what Patricia says and do that thing with the Taurus. And if you bump into something, you got to get rid of it. And you got to get rid of it fast because it's boring into you.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about this.
I agree with you, and you should be right now because it's an epidemic. It really is. It's at an all-time high, and I think that the more people, if you're aware of it, then you can control it instead of it controlling you, right?
Yep. Patricia, it's been really a pleasure having you on my show. You're great. You're so psychic, and you're so much fun to be with.
This is fun. I
want to do another show in a few weeks on psychic archaeology, and where we'll kind of look into, I think Egypt would be fun, and maybe some other Sumerian culture, maybe. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Okay?
Excellent. God bless, Jay.
Bet. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm Jay Weidner. This is Reality Check. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe and like and all that other stuff, and help me grow my show. Thank you very much.